record. Well, we are going to speak about the role of women in Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. It's a poem written at the later end of the 14th century by an anonymous poet. It is a part of the alliterative revival and the beginnings of the Romantic periods of writing. In Sir Gawain and the Green Knights can be considered as an epic poem, and it was published in the early Middle Ages when major changes to literature had started to occur.
By this area, the role of women in literature was changing radically. For the first time, women began to be seen as major players within literary works. Within Gawain, women exist in a central role. They are powerful, often working behind the scenes to control the plot of the story and the hero's quest. While the women in the story act as vehicles through which to move the plot along the story, they also help to bring new themes and elements to the foreground. The women in the text spend a considerable amount of time testing Gawain's respectful character. It is within Gawain that the concept of hero is expanded upon to create the concept of chivalry and truth. In Gawain, there is a romantic ideal of truth, which encompasses mind, body, and spirit. Women are often represented by the Virgin Mary, insinuating a reason to remain faithful to this truth, a sense of purity and faultless action. No matter the role, the women of Gawain mark a significant change in the role of women within Middle English literature.
The women in the story are the poet's primary instruments in this critique and reinforcement of feudalism. He puts into contrast the Virgin Mary with Lady Bertilac to point out the conflict between cowardly and spiritual love that he felt had weakened the religious values behind chivalry. The poem warns that a loss of the religious values behind chivalry would lead to the ultimate destruction. Although superficially Sir Gawain and the Green Knight appears to be a romantic celebration of chivalry, it contains a wide range of serious criticism of this system. There's a discrepancy between these and the church's mistrust of women and desires of the flesh is obvious. And the poet uses women in the story to deliver this message. In contrast to reality at the time, women in the story are given great power. Mary, when properly worshipped, gives Gawain his power. While on the other hand, Lady Bertilac works alone in the bedroom and single-handedly taints the chevalier. And Morgan the Fay instigates the entire plot, wielding enough power. The author is using them as a metaphor for other antisocial forces and dangers outside the control of feudalism and chivalry, drawing upon biblical and classical examples in his audience's minds where femininity is linked with subversiveness. Lady Bertilac is clearly seen in the biblical role of the temptress, the Eve who led Adam astray. In Gawain, she represents the traditional female archetypes of cowardly love, disobedience, lust, and death. Eve's antithesis is the Virgin Mary, who is the only woman who achieves motherhood while maintaining his chastity, purity. She represents spiritual love, obedience, chastity, and life.
Well, now I'm going to mention some of the characters, the female characters. One is Bertilac's wife, Lady Bertilac, who attempts to seduce Gawain during his stay at the castle. So the poem presents her to the reader as no more than a beautiful young woman Bertilak's wife is an amazingly clever person and an astute reader of Gawain's responses. She is characterized by the poet as someone who is eye-catchingly attractive, articulate, and artful. She is a woman who knows how to flirt and knows what she wants. Flirtatious and intelligent, Bertilak's wife turns out to be another pawn in Morgan Le Fay's plot. Another character is Morgan Le Fay. She is portrayed as a powerful sorceress trained by Merlin, as well as the half-sister of King Arthur. Not until the last 100 lines do we discover that the old woman at the castle is Morgan Le Fay, and that she has controlled the poem's entire action from beginning to end. As she often does in Arthurian literature, Morgan appears as an enemy of Camelot, one who aims to cause as much trouble for her half-brother and his followers as she can. Then we have Queen Guinevere, Arthur's wife, and the beautiful young Guinevere of Sir Gawain seems to have little in common with the one of later Arthurian legend. In the poem, she sits next to Sir Gawain at the New Year's feast and remains a silent and objectified presence between the knights of the Round Table. And then we have some male characters like King Arthur, who is the king of Camelot. In Sir Gawain, Arthur is young and beardless, and his court is in its golden age. Arthur shows the petulance of youth, and as it's seen in his initial response to the Green Knight's challenge. However, like a good king, he steps forward to take on the challenge. At the story's end, Arthur joins his nephew in wearing a green girdle on his arm, showing that Gawain's trial has taught him about his fallibility.
Well, another important character is the protagonist, and he is Sir Gawain. And he is the Arthur's nephew and one of the most loyal knights. He's a clear example of integrity, loyalty, and honesty. Then it is Green Knight. He is a mysterious visitor to Camelot. He has a huge stature, wild appearance, and a green complexion. It causes to be him apart from the knights and the beautiful ladies of Arthur's Camelot. He attaches great importance to verbal contracts, expecting Sir Gawain to go to great lengths to hold up his end of their bargain. And the Green Knight shows himself to be a supernatural being when he picks up his own severed head and rides out of Arthur's court. At the same time, he seems to symbolize the natural world. And then it is Bertilak of High Desert. He was a good-natured lord of the castle where Gawain spends Christmas. We only learn Bertilak's name at the end of the story, and the poem associates Bertilak with the natural world because of his birds. So, well, that's a little summary of the story and little analysis of the role of women. So we hope that you enjoy it. Bye.
Bye.